Join me here in a seated position with your foam roller. TP your knees and place the roller between the floor and your calves, which are located on the back of your lower leg, between the heel and the back of the knee. As we go through these calf rolling exercises, we're going to avoid rolling onto the back of the knee. It's okay to put a little bit of pressure onto your Achilles tendon here down at the ankle if you don't have prior injuries and issues with this area, or you're not too sensitive in this area. But we're really aiming for more the muscle bellies here in this particular exercise, so just do what feels good for you. Now the calves can be pretty sensitive for some folks, so here's our level 1 position to begin foam rolling the calves, okay? All we're gonna do is raise our feet from the ground to start putting some pressure onto our muscles. You don't have to lift yourself up yet, or at all if you don't want to. You can just bring your feet up, and we're putting our hands firmly behind us to keep ourselves in this nice upright position, just to stay strong in the rest of our body and not cave and hunch while we're working on our calves. So, at this point, if you have particularly sensitive or tight calves, you might already be able to feel some pressure here. You can kind of roll just a little bit, maybe find a tight spot. But for some people, this isn't going to be offering enough. So if this is good, stay here, keep searching for those tense spots. If it's not, here's our first modification that you can choose from. You can just cross one ankle over the other. This is great for people who are super tight and great for people who have modifications or limitations in their body that don't allow them to lift up. So just using one leg to add some body weight onto the other leg, you will quickly be able to feel the difference and really get a nice pressure going on your calf here. If you need to intensify this even more, you can lift yourself up off the ground. And this is usually too intense for me on most days. I have very tight calves myself, so being lifted can feel really nice on days that I'm looser, but on days like today when I've worked out on previous days and been very intensive with my calves, it's just, I can already feel on this side, on my left side, it's just too much. If I lift off right now, I'm gonna scream a little bit. So in order to keep from doing that, I'm just gonna keep myself in a nice, strong upright position and allow my right leg to create some pressure on my left one. And I'm right here in the kind of biggest part of my calf muscle, and I'm just feeling it, which is why you haven't seen me move very much. But feel free to kind of worm yourself, wiggle, however you need to move that foam roller either closer towards your ankle or more towards the back of the knee. And don't go too crazy with it, just find that tight spot, take a nice deep breath. Try to let that soften. So while we're releasing on these spots, let's discuss a little bit what we're dealing with. So when most people refer to the calves, they just think of this one big kind of block, the outermost muscle, which is called the gastrocnemius. It's the one that you see when you flex. If you're pointing your toes, you can see that. Which, by the way, don't be pointing your toes while you're doing this. We don't want a flexed muscle. We want our feet pointing up towards the sky, just in case that wasn't clear. But we've also got some other important muscles underneath. We've got the tibialis posterior, the flexor digitorum longus, the flexor hallucis longus, and for some people, a muscle called the plantaris. That one's not everyone has that one. So you can also kind of lean to one side or the other. But all of these muscles together have important jobs, especially in our jumping, our forward movement, raising our heels, and of course, running and walking. The lower leg is involved in all of it. So some people like myself have very naturally tight calves, or calves that become tight faster than average. So maybe they're not naturally tight all the time, but if you start exercising, they'll get tight faster than your workout buddy. So because calves can be prone to cramping or to drawing attention to themselves, you might fall into one of these categories and be very aware of it. But even if your calves don't cause you grief, massaging them like this is a great way to improve the health of your foot and your leg, which has positive ripple effects on your whole body. So definitely don't skip this one, even if it's not the most intense one that you've felt thus far. So when you feel that you've given some love to all of your tense spots, you can shake your legs out and feel really proud of the work that you've done here, but definitely don't rush it. Find those spots, try different angles by kind of rotating your body weight. If you need more or less, you can try the double leg lift, you can try double leg seated, or again, you can go single leg, either seated or lifted. And I can assure you, you will find that spot and it'll make you want to sing. But again, just kind of pause there, hang out, let that tension release by just taking a nice breath and getting some good oxygen and blood flow. And in just a matter of minutes, you will feel a great difference in your calves and just be ready to go about your day.